Greetings, friends. My name is Pavel Stelmach, and now we will dive into the top news of this day. Ukrainian troops are advancing. There are advances every day. Ukrainian Defence Forces are moving in the direction of Bakhmut, and the enemy will continue to advance in the directions of Liman, Avdiivka, and Marinka. The enemy is trying to dislodge our troops from their positions, but receives a decent rebuff. Heavy fighting is going on there right now, informed Deputy Minister of Defense Hanna Maller. Over the past week, as a result of attacks, the liberated area was increased by 9 square kilometers. At the same time, the number of enemy shelling in the east doubled during this week. The week before last, there were almost 6,500 shellings, and last week there were more than 11,700 shellings. In the south, the defense forces of Ukraine continue an offensive operation in the Melitopol and Berdyansk directions. For the past week, their free territories have been increased by almost 28.5 square kilometers. In general, the liberated area in the south is 158.4 square kilometers. In an interview with the Washington Post, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine, Valery Zaluzhny, explained the specifics of the current movement of the military campaign. This is not a show. It is not a show. The whole world is watching and betting on anything. Every day, every meter is given by blood.
For our political leadership and for our military commanders, the life of each Ukrainian soldier is the most important in this war. And Ukrainian soldiers defending Ukrainian territory. We are not trying to occupy any Russian territory. We are not pretending to take control over Russian villages, cities, or dictate Russia our will. So, in this war, they're trying to share seeds of this propaganda just to find additional argument which will collectively push on Ukraine to stop this self-defending activity on our territory. Of course, Ukraine is not losing as many as Russia lost during last 6 months, especially in Bakhmut. And what they're saying is just trying to counter-attack our arguments by their fake cliches. Ukraine is not losing as many as Russia lost. And Ukrainian army is protected by our leadership, who believes that life of each soldier is the most value in this war.
The pace of the offensive could be faster if Ukraine had more ammunition and F-16s. The loss of even modern samples of Western weapons is an inevitable circumstance of this war. The command of the armed forces is ready for any scenario. Russian threats to use nuclear weapons will not change the main goal, the deoccupation of Ukrainian territory. The Parliamentary Assembly of the OSCE adopted a resolution supporting the creation of a Special International Tribunal for the crime of aggression against Ukraine, as well as a call to condemn the Russian state ideology. Support for the idea of a Special International Tribunal by international organizations is growing. The European Parliament and PACE have already issued relevant decisions. From now on, statutory meetings of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly will only take place in countries supporting visa ban for Russians, who will also not be appointed to important positions in the Assembly until the end of the aggression. In accordance with the main provisions of the document, the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly calls for convene statutory meetings only in those countries that will support visa bans for Russian MPs, not to appoint Russian parliamentaries who support the war to positions of responsibility in the Assembly until the end of the aggression. The document confirms the need to adopt amendments to the regulation on the temporary suspension of the mandate of a state's parliamentary delegation in the event it is violated and sovereignty and territorial integrity of another state. Finally, the resolution supports the creation of a special tribunal for the crime of aggression against Ukraine in order to prosecute Russian officials, and also calls for the condemnation of the Russian state ideology. The Standing Committee of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly initiated the creation of a special committee to support the Parliament of Ukraine for better coordination of consultations among parliamentarians on a wide range of issues related to the full-scale invasion of Ukraine by Russia. President Volodymyr Zelensky instructed to strengthen the border with Belarus. The decision to additionally strengthen the northern direction was dictated by the plans to place Russian mercenaries of the Wagner PMC in Belarus. There is no currently immediate threat of new invasion from the territory of the northern neighbor, but there is no trust in the Lukashenko regime too. With the help of the Lukashenko regime, Russia seeks to disperse Ukrainian forces to cover additional directions. The border with Belarus is one of the priorities of the command, therefore it is reliably covered in terms of engineering equipment, fortifications and engagement of forces. And it is not only about Ukraine. Poland is additionally strengthening the border with Belarus due to the tense situation and influx of migrants. This was announced by the Minister of Internal Affairs of Poland, Mariusz Kamiński. Border forces are strengthened with 500 Polish police from preventive and counter-terrorist units. Kamiński added that these policemen will join the 5,000 border guards and 2,000 soldiers who are already guarding the security of this border. Lithuania also will strengthen counterintelligence and the country's borders with Belarus due to the fact that part of the mercenaries of the Wagner PMC will settle on the territory of the Republic after a failed mutiny attempt. The president of Lithuania, Gitanas Nausėda, said this at a joint press conference with the president of Poland, Andrzej Duda, and the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky.
We have taken appropriate decision. We will strengthen our counterintelligence, our intelligence near the border. We will support new plans for border protection, and we will also listen to our partners and other NATO members countries who would also give a clear answer to this situation.
According to the president of Poland, his country's border with Belarus has been subject to hybrid attacks for almost 2 years. So as we can see, strengthening the defense of the Belarusian direction is proportional due to the threats that are observed. That concludes our today's video. Thank you for watching. Stay updated. Subscribe to our UATV English channel for more news from Ukraine. Your support is that really matters. Goodbye.